Hi everyone, it's Kira and welcome back to the FSeries channel. It has been a while, but we are finally back. We told you guys we weren't leaving. So today we are joining you to do a review on Formula 2's third season of Chasing the Dream. Now if you do not know what Chasing the Dream is, it is a documentary series which follows around the Formula 2 circus parade, if you will, for the season, and they bring out a documentary at the end. It has 6 episodes, so about 25 minutes each. We done this video last year on season 2 and we are back to do season 3. So before we delve on into it, if you do enjoy this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel down below. But other than that, I think we should just start talking about this series. So we were very lucky enough to be given a sneak preview to episode 1, which was all around Guan Yu Zhou, a couple of days before the release. The release is on F1 TV if you do want to watch it. But I just want to know from you guys, obviously we've now watched all of them. Now it did came out the 1st of March. Which was your favourite episode? 6 to choose from, lots of different drivers involved. Which one was your fave? Whoever can start. I don't mind.
I really liked, obviously, the Oscar Piastri episodes, and I liked that we got to see, like, sort of behind the scenes and see, like, Mark Webber and say, like, how, obviously, he's his manager and go through the motions like that. Obviously, because I like Liam and Yuri, like, that little snippet of them together as teammates, saying how, like, it's really good that they get along together as teammates. It could easily go sour, but they get on really well. I really, really like that. But definitely Oscar, like, his focus on Oscar, like, throughout the championship, because I just think, like, we obviously know that he's not in Formula 1 this year, so just seeing like how good he actually is. I know you watched the races, but to see the behind the scenes and just what he's like as well, just to focus on Oscar, I just really, really like that.
Steph?
Episode 5, which was all kind of centered around, that was the episode that kind of delved in a little bit to Formula 3, and I like that episode because it didn't really focus on one person. There were a lot of features of that episode. And one thing that I've really enjoyed with Chasing the Dream is that they followed Juan Manuel Correa's story and his recovery from his accident in Spa in 2019. And they've followed it. So we saw it in the last we saw it last season, them kind of watching him get the closure that he needed and then coming back to race this year in Formula 3. So I thought that was really good that they kind of continue with this story. So it's almost like it's developing as well from series to series. And I actually thought it was really good that we saw kind of the way F3 and F2 work together, which was in Sochi. And yeah, Robert Schwartzman taking a win. Or did he win? He was on the podium.
No, third.
Yeah, he was on the podium in Russia. I just thought there's good vibes there.
Exactly. Yeah, I think picking up from that, I also did like episode 5. I didn't realise there would be that much focus on Formula 3, but I did love it. And I think, again, as Steph said, with the Juan Manuel Correa situation, and obviously every single season you can see his development coming back and his rehabilitation into racing again. So that's really nice, because I think similarly to Drive to Survive, in terms of Daniel Ricciardo and Pierre Gasly and also Alex Albon, every season they've also had an episode where you then see what they've done the next year. So it's nice that they've kind of been able to do that as well. But yeah, I did like the focus that they had on Formula 3. I think it sets it up quite nicely for next season. Obviously they spoke about the 3 main protagonists in Clement Novalak, Dennis Hauger and Jack Doohan for the F3 title, of which all 3 of them have stepped up to Formula 2 this year. So it kind of carries it on quite nicely to kind of set it up to be like, these are the guys we've been talking about a little bit, but next season they will be the names you want to talk about. So let's swing it back to Charlotte when she spoke about episode 4, of which was all about Oscar Piastri. Now we know Oscar Piastri sadly does not have a full-time seat in Formula 1 this year, despite winning the F2 championship. Did you think it highlighted the situation he had at hand enough? Because I personally feel like it didn't quite delve as deep, and I know that Oscar isn't somebody that is too deep, you know, he's very funny, kind of light-hearted, but do you think it delved as deep as it could have done about, you know, the issue that we have where Oscar didn't get a seat? Do you think it could have told us a little bit more, or do you think it done enough?
I think the thing with Chasing the Dream, because the episodes are so short, I think they try and keep it as positive as possible. If we look at Drive to Survive, the amount of drama, and like, I think if we just go back to when Daniel was leaving Red Bull, like you saw the ins and outs, like when Pierre was being removed from the box to Alex being called the subject, like you see the details in that. But I wish we had some more. I wish we had some more of like how they were trying to get him a seat, because it just when it shows, obviously we know he's not got a seat, but we didn't see them trying to. There was not like any talk about, oh, we've been to this team or we spoke to this team and things like that. So I do wish there was a little bit more, but I do kind of like that it was like sort of drama free, and I think that's really good with Chasing the Dream. It's very much what you see on track is what you're going to get. It's not we're going to clip this and use it here. It's very much this is what we do. So I did wish we saw a little bit more of like the background of it, especially because obviously we know Oscar's won the F3 and F2 championships back to back. Like surely there's more stuff behind the scenes. So I'm very 50-50. I wish there was a little bit more, but I'm glad it was sort of as positive as it was.
I like the way that they did it. Obviously, it's really unfortunate that Oscar doesn't have that seat and they couldn't really show him coming up. But I do agree with Charlotte in that I realise that the episodes are so short as well to kind of just give that slight insight into what's going on. And I think it's a lot better in terms of keeping the attention span. Having less to watch as like a new a new F2 fan, for example, makes it a lot easier to kind of understand. And I think that Chasing the Dream is a really great documentary for people who haven't watched Formula 2 before, because it shows the progression and kind of how the season prior has gone, and it kind of gives you what you're going to expect for the season to come. So yeah, I don't know, but I like the way that they did it, and I agree with Charlotte in that it feels very true to Formula 2 rather than exploitative of the dramatic moments. So yeah.
I also think, sorry, before you come back in, Kez, I also think it was really nice how they still showed that, obviously, Granny Joe got the seat, but they still showed Oscar and Granny Joe being really friendly. Like, there wasn't any bad blood there, and I really like that they put that across, because obviously a lot of people on Twitter are like, oh, well, Granny Joe took the only available seat, and it's like, it's not his fault. Like, he's got a seat, but the problem is that the system is so messed up that the champion doesn't have a seat. Do you know what I mean? So it was really nice to see that they actually included their friendship even after it was announced that Oscar wouldn't have a seat, because I just think there's many things you can do to like twist it so it makes it out like they've got bad blood, but I'd like that they showed that they're still good and like happy as friends.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to remember that they were in the Alpine Junior team together, and they have worked together for a very long time. They are good friends, and I think, as you said, things do get twisted when they don't need to get twisted. But yeah, I do feel like you could easily watch Chasing the Dream and you can get a general feeling as to the season, and I think it's helpful because we know that the Formula 2 calendar wasn't the best last year and people felt very detached from the series. So maybe somebody, even like myself, like my memory is so poor, and I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know what I watched last year, and then you watch this back and you're like, oh, I remember when that happened. I remember, like, I forgot about Teo Pocher and his wrist, like I forgot about all these things that they do actually highlight. But moving on to another episode, which I think we would like to talk about, is the episode 3 of which was Dan Ticktum. Now we know Dan Ticktum is a very hot and cold driver. He has had a lot of incidences before this. He had a couple of year race ban as well, but obviously he was able to build himself back up, but he had a lot of problems last year, and I can't remember what the title was. It was what was
F1
it?
or bust.
Yes, F1 or
bust.
bust, and that is quite literally Dan's season, and I love that it was called that. I mean, I saw the title straight away and I was like, this is Dan's episode. What did you guys think about Dan's episode? Did you think because I thought he was very honest in it, and I thought you could really understand his path. We didn't quite hear about the Williams situation. He just said he was upset with being dropped, so we don't fully know what happened there. But I think Dan's episode was probably one of my favourites because you saw the struggles he went through, then he kind of came out in the end with a Formula E seat.
Yeah, I think the difference between Dan Ticktum and any other drivers on the grid is that he just says stuff, and he's always been that kind of driver. Like, it all comes out whatever he's thinking, and in a lot of ways that's bad, and he has been criticised a lot for that. But I think it's really good in this because you see him being completely raw, you see his emotions, and he puts it all on the line, which is definitely not really something you see from other drivers. So I like the emotion that kind of was brought to that episode. But I will say I don't like it when the one episode kind of just focuses on one driver, because there's so many drivers in Formula 2 and there's so many stories that kind of go alongside it. It's not that I was sad to have a whole episode not wasted. It's not that I was sad to have it wasn't wasted on Dan, because I really enjoyed the episode. But I like it when they can kind of weave and
integrate
words. I like it when they can intricately weave other people's stories into it, and I feel like it was very Dan heavy. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my opinion. That's probably why I gravitated more towards episode 5, because it had that overarching feel where we were talking about all of the drivers rather than focusing on one guy's story. But it was really great that Dan did get to tell his story. And yeah, you can kind of sense the pain that he had once he was dropped from Williams with no notice. I remember us all being so confused when that happened as well. It literally came out of absolutely nowhere.
I think I did like that episode. What I got from that episode is that I would really like to take him shopping, because them jeans are number one for me. I would really like to take him shopping, although he's probably got 10 times more money than I'll ever have in my life. But I did like it. I like that you could see like it was like a little roller coaster. It was like, he was on a high and then he dipped back into the low and then dipped back into the high, and then obviously the Williams things happened and he was like, obviously I'm going to Formula E, and I like that they mentioned Formula E because obviously that was his destination. I also just liked I think getting to know him a bit better, because obviously he's got this aura around him. People are like, he's a bit of an idiot, you know, he swears on the radio, he's very hot-headed, but if you actually look past that, and like everyone's passionate, like I think was it Trevor Carlin was like saying how once he's out of the race, he's calm again. It's just in that moment he gets very worked up. So I did like the sort of background into him. I think people understand him a lot more now and not just jump to the fact that he swears on the radio and I just like the way that they showed, like when I think it was when Jahan won and he was like, has he won? And he's like, yeah, and he was like, I'm really happy. Like you could see that even though he was still like P11 when he fought from the back, he was generally still happy for his teammates. So I did really like it. I like the background of Dan. I think I've learned a lot more about Dan now.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is nice to delve into it. And kind of counteracting and kind of slightly disagreeing with what Steph says, I do like having an episode solely on one driver. I understand there were so many to get through and a lot of drivers and situations didn't get picked up on. But I think it was quite nice to have that episode on Dan, because I feel like kind of like episode 2, was it, when we had the High Tech Boys and also Tailport Chair? I felt like we were kind of going in and out, but not quite going as deep as I would have liked to. Again, we only had short episodes, and fitting 3 drivers into that could be quite difficult. But going off from that, obviously 6 episodes, 25 minutes long, there were some drivers that were not brought up, or there were situations that weren't brought up. Who would you like to A, have seen of, because some of them just weren't included, or B, who would you like to have seen more of in the season?
Oh my god. That's really hard.
Like, we didn't have any Roy Nassani, apart from saying he liked Jack's car. We didn't
You know what? I really like that Jack Aiken was in it.
Yeah.
He's just so funny to me. He just brings me smiles all the time.
Because Jack's story could have been something where he wasn't coming back to Formula 2.
Do you know what I wish we'd have seen? Jean-Luc Petikov. I forgot he did like the first 2 rounds.
I think that's probably why we didn't see him.
Yeah.
We all forgot.
Yeah, but I think that's a really interesting point though that actually plagued the F2 season last year, is that we had a lot of drivers being rotated in and out, and it would have been nice to have kind of touched on that, even for like half an episode, to kind of talk about those drivers that did come in and did go out and then came to jump in a seat.
Came back.
Yeah. And I also am a big fan of Jean-Luc Petikov, and I think it was really, really sad that he didn't have the funding to be able to continue with his season.
Yeah.
Justice for GL.
Yeah, I think somebody else as well that we didn't touch on is Ralph Boschong. Obviously, we know Ralph has been in and out of the series, even from before it was F2. He's been here for just so long, in and out, obviously having financial difficulties. And I think last year was a year where he really solidified himself to say, I am racing this full season. And he done so well, so close to a podium all the time. And I feel like that would have been something to have delved into Ralph's issues in the past, how he's overcame them. He does all of this by himself. He goes out and finds his sponsors for himself. Once he's got them, he'll go to a team and say, this is what I've got. And I think seeing a driver who is really individual and works for themselves, I think would have been nice to kind of explore into. So maybe we could have seen something like that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think obviously there's like big names that weren't like Christian Lundgaard. Where's he? He's now in Indy. Like we didn't see that. Or Felipe Drogovic. We didn't see him a lot. So there was actually like quite
drugs.
There was quite quite big people in Formula 2 that we didn't see, but I did kind of like that as well, because I really like that they sort of focus on other people. Like in season 2 there was quite a lot of episodes surrounding quite similar people, so I am quite happy. I did like that we had Teo quite a lot, but like you said, Kira, it was like in this episode, then this episode, in this episode, so it was kind of like all over the gaff, like when he came back and then had the crash in was it Saudi Arabia?
Yes, yeah.
Like, so that was obviously, I know it's in chronological, so it was like, okay, fair enough, but Yeah, I think there's just so many drivers we could include, but I just think the thing is they just need longer episodes to be able to include. There's like over 20 drivers.
I'd rather us have more episodes than longer.
Yeah, more
I like
episodes.
having the short episodes, but I would like a couple more.
Yeah, I think so. And I think because this is now, this is the third season of it now, I think they are warranted more and longer episodes. They've been the same each year. I understand maybe first season, test it out second season, but I think this year probably could have liked it a little bit bigger, a little bit longer. I'm sure maybe they will do that next year, or we will get something longer because there's so many drivers to talk about. Formula 2 is chaotic. It's just as chaotic as Formula 1. I definitely think that we will hopefully have some longer episodes next season. So anyway, episode 6 did round off the final of the championship. We saw where everyone's going. So we saw obviously Guan Yu Zhou's going to F1. We saw that Oscar is taking the reserve seat. We saw where Christine Lagarde was going off to Indy. We saw these different things of where people were going, and it kind of ended quite nicely. I love the chronological. We're all fans of chronological here. It was amazing. Because when Oscar's episode finished, I was like, what do you mean there's 3 rounds left? I was like, well, you're just going to leave it like this? And I realised they were waiting for episode 6. So I think that was really great. And I think it makes someone want to continue the season more and continue the series more until the end. So you kind of find out what happens. But yeah, I think that was kind of the end. And that kind of rounds up what we thought of Chasing the Dream. I think we all really did enjoy it. Lovely little watch. Very light-hearted. And it wasn't anything too deep. So does anyone have any final thoughts? Anybody want to make a prediction for what's going to happen in season 4? I mean, I presume it's going to get renewed. So what do you think? Who's going to come up? Dennis Hauger? Probably going to have a lot on him.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. Fred Bestie.
Yeah, our bestie. Oh, I forgot about
I
Fred.
hope we get some more Yuri Vips because we love Yuri Vips.
We do
on
love
this
Yuri
channel.
Vips.
I
Some
wonder
more
if they'll
Yuri.
focus on Yuri and Liam now they're in different teams, because that, I know obviously it depends on what happens in the season.
Yeah, actually, I think that
but
would
that
be a
could
really
be spicy.
good one
That could
because
be
they're both
spicy.
Red Bull juniors as well. So they're 2 people who are likely going to be fighting for 1 AlphaTauri seat next year, maybe 2. Who knows? I don't really know what's going on with AlphaTauri, but they'll definitely play up on that rivalry.
Yeah, no, they definitely will. But yeah, that is it, and that is our review and our first video back for a while on the F-Series channel. If you did enjoy the video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and follow us on Twitter and TikTok down below. That is where we are daily. Comment down below if you've watched Chasing the Dream, what you liked, what you didn't like, what was your favourite episode. We would love to hear from you. Again, thanks again for Formula 2 for A, doing this documentary, and B, giving us a little sneak peek beforehand. We really did enjoy it. But yeah, other than that, we're going to go, and we will see you again soon on the F-Series channel. Bye!